Let's face it, when it's time to buy a car, there's only one thing stopping you. It's the moolah, the Benjis, the dough. It's the money. At Driveway, we get it. Not everyone has stacks of cash for a new set of wheels. That's why Driveway partners with more than 25 different lenders to offer financing that works with your budget, not against it. And while it's all totally online, we also have a care center with financial experts ready to help you find the scratch you need to land the car of your dreams. That's Driveway. All credit applications are subject to approval. Head to driveway.com today.
Shop Howard's Memorial Day savings. Save up to 34% on appliances, TVs, and mattresses. Buy a Whirlpool top-load laundry pair for $1434.99 or an LG front-load laundry pair for $1344.99. Get a GE French door refrigerator for $1999.99 and a KitchenAid dishwasher for just $989.99. Free box spring or upgrade to an adjustable base for just $99 when you buy any Restonic Queen mattress. Open a new Howard's card and earn a $100 prepaid gift card. Get free next-day delivery now through June 9th. Visit howards.com for more details.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Hey, what's up, everybody? Just wanted to get a quick one in here before I get my day kicked off with some adventuring and then the Super Bowl. So I see that Chelsea Handler's been having a gas the last couple of days talking about her Jeffrey Epstein experience, huh? Sure is nice that she's getting a pass. What was she doing at Jeffrey Epstein's house after he was already convicted of his crimes? That's the real question people should be asking, not trying to get a little bit of information out of her about what she said to Woody bitch-ass Allen. It's not all fun and games. People like this, Chelsea Handler, Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos, they helped refurbish this dude's reputation. And as far as Hollywood goes in general, they never stopped embracing Jeffrey Epstein. The bunch of hypocrites. So I'm glad everybody's having such a good time about the fact that Chelsea Handler was at Jeffrey Epstein's, helping him refurbish his reputation. I'm really glad that that's a fun time and that people like Rob Lowe don't want to dig any deeper and ask her, well, what were you doing there in the first place? She says she was like 20 years old when it happened. Yeah, right. This happened in 2010, 11 years ago. Everybody knew what Jeffrey Epstein was. He had just gotten out of prison. And the draw of going to see stank-ass Joe Exotic of the Windsor family was much more important than what Jeffrey Epstein had done and the animal that he was. So Chelsea, I'm glad you're having a great time and everybody's giving you a pass, but guess what? Not here on this podcast. We're going to jump back in the time machine and we're going to read an article from 2019 this morning by Adriana Cohen. And this article was posted at the Herald Tribune. Headline: Hollywood hypocrites always embraced Epstein. Hollywood's #MeToo credibility is crumbling before our eyes. Yeah, they never had any credibility in Hollywood when it comes to the whole Me Too movement. They're some of the worst perpetrators of it all. What do you think, the casting couch was just a joke? Something somebody just made up? No, that's how shit works in that depraved, disgusting den of filth called Hollywood. First, many in the entertainment industry turned a blind eye to movie mogul Harvey Weinstein's rampant, alleged sexual harassment and misconduct toward women for years, if not decades. Now, we learn they also hobnobbed with pedophile Jeffrey Epstein even after he was convicted for soliciting minors for prostitution and served 13 months in prison, thereby negating any plausible denial they were unaware of his sexual predation. And we know it's much worse than that. We know that the soliciting minors for prostitution is not even a real law, okay? Should have never been on the books in the first place. A minor cannot be a prostitute. Everybody understood what Jeffrey Epstein was really being accused of. Everybody understood that if it wasn't for Dershowitz, Ken Starr, Lefkowitz, and the rest of them, this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, would have been in prison for the rest of his life. And it's funny because, Chelsea Handler, she goes to this party. She's there with Katie Couric, who is one of the top dogs of the news media. Katie Couric has no idea that Jeffrey Epstein's a sick bastard, just a sick, disgusting child molester. She has no idea, huh? She wasn't paying any attention to the trial that was going on or any of the allegations that were being made by people down in Palm Beach or New York or the Virgin Islands. So how is she considered this great news mavis if she doesn't even know some of the biggest stories going on? Or, let's flip the script. She knew exactly what was going on, and she still didn't care. Anything to get closer to the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family. Hell, ABC has a long, illustrious history of bowing down to the royals, killing Virginia's interview with Amy Robach. Katie Couric going over to Jeffrey Epstein's pad, George Stephanopoulos going over there for dinner. That's all part of refurbishing this dude's image. And you all took part in it. So next time you get up on your ivory tower and you screech down about everybody else, go take a nice hard look in the mirror and remember your fancy dinner over at your buddy Jeffrey Epstein's. The stark reality is that after Epstein served his 2008 prison sentence and became a registered sex offender, Hollywood continued to welcome him with open arms to exclusive VIP events, movie premieres, and glitzy parties. And we know it was the same with Ghislaine Maxwell. She was still being invited to Jeff Bezos' little getaways, his little functions, and, the little hideaways that these uber-rich people like to go to. And Jeffrey Epstein was still getting invited to all sorts of movie premieres. Batman versus Superman, all kinds of stuff. All right? Hollywood, they are the biggest of hypocrites. And some of the biggest scoundrels going themselves. And the fact that Chelsea Handler's laughing about this, it's just, no big deal. Yeah, I was at Jeffrey Epstein's house. No big deal. I was only there for a minute. I don't even know the guy. And nobody presses her any harder. All they want to know about is Woody Allen. I mean, come on now. Nobody, not one of these people, Rob Lowe or anybody else, says to her, Chelsea Handler, all right, so you say you went there with Katie Couric. I get it. You're the plus one. But Katie Couric, who is a news person, has no idea who Jeffrey Epstein is? I'm sorry, but I don't buy that for one single minute. Now, Chelsea Handler ain't the brightest crayon in the box, and I doubt she watches any sort of news that isn't given to her and force-fed to her by her echo chamber. But to think she had no idea who Jeffrey Epstein was or what he was up to is laughable at best. And all of you clowns in the legacy media and elsewhere that are giving her a pass, we see you. Equally troubling are Epstein's long cultivated relationships within Hollywood and New York media circles, where he moved with ease well after his high-profile 2008 conviction, reports The Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, look, we know this. We know that Epstein was moving and shaking even after the arrest. We know that all of these people in so-called polite society of New York, they welcomed him with open arms. There's only one sin in high society, and that sin is being broke. Anything else is forgivable, folks. In 2016, Epstein attended Warner Brothers' Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice premiere in New York, socializing with Hollywood movie stars and industry heavyweights. 2016, okay? So what's the excuse then? You had no idea who he was still, huh? Oh, we had no idea that Jeffrey Epstein was a sick bastard, a pedophile, and a human trafficker. So we're just hanging out with him anyway. All the way in 2016. Yeah, okay, sure. And these are the same people that will be the first to try and act like they're morally superior to the rest of us. And I got news for you, okay? Nobody who hung out with Jeffrey Epstein after his arrest is morally superior to me. These people are legitimately sick in the head, folks, and they have no idea what reality is really like. Quite ironic, hold on. Back in 2010, Hollywood movie directors, veteran TV journalists George Stephanopoulos and Katie Couric, and Chelsea Handler, to name a few, attended a private dinner party honoring Joe Exotic of the Windsor family at Epstein's multi-million-dollar New York City mansion, according to reports. And, it's funny, because you see these kind of people, they had zero qualms hanging out at Epstein's, going over there for the dinner, helping him refurbish his image. And then, at the same time, get up there and act like they're these big champions of Me Too. As if everybody has forgotten your associations with Epstein. I guess some people have, but not me. I've been talking about the fact that Katie Couric and George Stephanopoulos going to Jeffrey Epstein's dinner, and then the fact that ABC just quashes the Roblox story, and it all looks so bad for all of them. Oh, it was just a dinner, Bobby. No, okay? No, at this point, it was not just a dinner. Everybody knew what Epstein was. If this happened in 2006, 2005, all right, at the very least, it's defensible. At least you can build a defense around it you didn't know. But after the arrest, it is indefensible, inexcusable, and in fact, it's quite disgusting that everybody seems to be giving old Chelsea Handler a pass over this. Quite ironic, given that Handler is a vocal Me Too proponent who walked in the Women's March on Washington. She's such a big Me Too proponent that she went and sat down with somebody who was convicted of solicitation of a minor for prostitution. That was the charge he was hit with, right? We all know it was worse than that. But if you really are into Me Too, and you're really a feminist, and you're really into, women's rights, would you be going over to Jeffrey Epstein's at all, ever? The answer is no. And Handler's just another one of these fake the funk wannabes. Whichever way the wind blows, that's the way she'll bend. And it's pathetic. And all of these people who were palling around with Epstein, they really have no basis to talk to anybody else about anything at this point, in my opinion. 17 million women across the world have been sexually assaulted, she told the New York Times in a 2018 interview. It's all over the place. So to ignore it, it is to live in a lane and be delusional about your own experience. Well, I could agree with her on that, right? It's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. But you hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein over at his house for dinner, helping him refurbish his image, is probably not the correct way to go about things, Miss Handler. Huh? Clearly, Handler conveniently ignored sexual abuse against women and young girls when she attended this party. Was she delusional that he spent time in the clink for the very criminal acts she claims to stand against? And it's a valid point. It is a valid point. You can't go back and try and rewrite history or make us all wear rosy-colored glasses and try and divert the conversation to Woody Allen, because that's what she's doing. Bringing up Woody Allen and the so-called conversation she had with him. She is a grade A, top-shelf hypocrite. And furthermore, she's not even funny. Then there's Couric, who is currently writing a memoir with details about her own Me Too experiences throughout her storied career. Will she be including her attendance at the chic party, or will that chapter not make the cut? I highly doubt that chapter's making the cut. All of these people want us to forget about this. Nobody ever brings this stuff up. Nobody ever brings up the fact that Stephanopoulos and Korik, two top big-time media moguls, media big shots, were over at Epstein's house, eating dinner, frolicking, having a good old time on old Jeffrey Epstein's dime. When's anyone going to ask George Stephanopoulos about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? How great would that be? If little Minnie Mac was on TV trying to give somebody the business, berating them, talking down to them, and they just stopped directly in the conversation and said, "Hey, look, Georgie boy, what were you doing over at Epstein's house? How many times did you hang out with him? And how many massages did you get?" And watches all the color drain from his face. It's like people are scared of this little midget George Stephanopoulos. Go put on your clog platform shoes, get on your ivory tower, and yell down at the rest of us, you big gigantic hypocrite, because guess what? We're all on to you. Nobody cares what you have to say, and we all know that you're fugazi. If any of these folks or other Hollywood types who claim to support the Me Too movement were to truly care about stopping female sexual exploitation, why would they continue to socialize and lend legitimacy, both personally and professionally, to a creep like Epstein? Bingo. 100%. Enabler's gonna enable. And that's what they did and what they continued to do for a very long time. And Chelsea Handler, she can try and slither out of it. She can try and point fingers about how she was just there with Katie Couric. And she can try and use Woody Allen as a distraction. But the fact remains, you were there, you broke bread at the table of Jeffrey Epstein. And then, in a very hypocritical fashion, acted like you're some sort of champion of the Me Too movement? And a creep he is. The convicted child predator was recently arrested and charged with child sex trafficking and sex trafficking conspiracy to traffic dozens of underage girls across state lines from 2002 to 2005. How was that dinner, Chelsea? Was it worth it? Were those truffles good? How was that caviar? How about the filet mignon? Glad you enjoyed your dinner at Jeffrey Epstein's house. It is also well known that Epstein flew scores of influential elites inside and outside of Hollywood on his private jet nicknamed the Lolita Express. These excursions reportedly including taking underage girls to his lavish private estate in the U.S. Virgin Islands, nicknamed Orgy Island. So the plane, as we know, was called the Lolita Express. Everybody knew that. He had an island called Orgy Island. Everybody knew that. Except for Katie Couric, big-time news lady. Except for clog-wearing George Stephanopoulos, Mr. Newsman himself. If you think the moniker Orgy Island says it all, the New York Post reports that locals dubbed it another name. Everybody called it Pedophile Island. St. Thomas boat operator Kevin Goodrich said of Epstein's 75-acre Little St. James Island, about a mile southeast of St. Thomas, "It's our dark corner." So everybody called it Pedophile Island, but big-time newsman George Stephanopoulos and his clogged shoes had no idea. Katie Couric, she was none the wiser. And Chelsea Handler, well, you can't expect her to know what's going on, can you? But none of that stopped none of that stopped Hollywood from embracing Epstein during or after his criminal acts. Even during the height of the Me Too movement, with movie moguls like Weinstein finally being held to account, Epstein was still welcomed by Tinseltown. Even in the post-Me Too era, Epstein, 66, frequently attended industry events like the Gotham Awards in November 2017, reports The Hollywood Reporter. So, again, the Gotham Awards in 2017, folks. Batman 2016. after his arrest. And what's going to be the excuse that they'll use? Oh, we had no idea. And that's what they'll leave it at, and then they'll ignore it and hope it goes away. Well, newsflash, Hollywood and the rest of you scumbags, it's not going away. All of which leads credence to the term Hollywood hypocrite. Quite fitting, wouldn't you say? And there's no doubt that all of these people in Hollywood, people like Kirk, people like George Stephanopoulos in the media, Handler in Hollywood, Woody Allen, and the rest of them, every single one of these people that attended this dinner, went to these balls with him, invited him to events, they are all enablers. And they should all be called out for being such. And Chelsea Handler getting a free pass with other folks, well, that's fine and well, but around here, that's not going to fly. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. And remember, folks, tonight for the live stream, it's going to be a little bit later than usual. Now, we usually do it at 7 p.m., but the Super Bowl's on today, so I'm guessing 8:15-ish, 8:30-ish, and obviously we won't go for the full 2 hours tonight. We'll go for about an hour and 20 minutes or so. All right, everybody, so I hope you all enjoy your day. If you're watching the Super Bowl, I hope you enjoy that, and I hope to see you tonight on the live stream. All right, everybody, I'll catch you then.
This summer, get ready for the 99's More in Store Tour. More than 40 99-cents only stores in LA are getting more 99, so you'll find more fun with a fresh design. Discover more seasonal decor with sizzling savings, drool more with fresh produce at mouth-watering prices, and keep saving more with the 99's unbeatable value on unbelievable name brands.
I need a bigger cart.
Find out if the summer's hottest tour is bringing more to a 99 near you at 99hasmore.com.
Thinking of buying a house and want a really low interest rate? Owning has a special for home purchases, where Owning pays all your closing costs, and the rate in APR is an unheard of 1.875% for a 15-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. This is the craziest low rate for a mortgage with no closing costs that Owning has ever done. 1.875% rate in APR. Heck, we're almost paying you to live in a new house. Call 833-2-OWNING or go to owning.com to see if you qualify for this crazy low 1.875% rate. That's a fixed rate loan at 1.875% with no closing costs. Call 833-2-OWNING now because 1.875 could go away at any time.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Subject to credit approval. Offer assumes the use of Lender's Choice escrow and title services. Call 833-858-0066 for terms and conditions.
That's 833-2-OWNING or owning.com. 833-2-OWNING or owning.com.